the labels are slow. It's happening because they're watching all of us too. You know what I'm saying? They're watching the people who are on the way up. Half of my story views, I feel like, are label execs, either people that I've consulted for already or people who pumped fake like they were going to hire me to consult. And they're just watching my story, hoping that they get inspired.
Music entrepreneurs, you are back on the MEC. This is your home where we talk it because we live it, and we live it so we give it, something like that. Sometimes it rolls off the tongue, sometimes it doesn't. Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate you tuning in for another episode. As always, we have 3 free months of music distribution for you. Go to tolost.com, use the code MEC, and 3 free months. No tricks, no obligation. Get all your music up that you can within 3 months. I don't know why you haven't done it. Doesn't make sense, but as you'll see in this episode, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense. So how are you feeling today, Erinn? How are you feeling, Dame?
Feeling good. A little congested, unfortunately, but overall feeling good.
Same here. I got up super early today, got my workout in already. Not rocking the LA hat today. I got the New York hat. This is a company called Blank Slate. They do their own hats, but they do like custom hats. We're actually getting some Two Lost hats made, but I'm also, when Ja's laugh logo is made, like, these hats are just super comfortable and dope. Hopefully people agree. But yeah, shout out Blank Slate. But I'm feeling good. Looking forward to getting into these topics. We got some good topics lined up today for sure.
Let's jump into yours, Dame, quickly, and then oh no, wait, we need weekly wins. Hold on.
Gotta tap into our wins. We gotta share our wins. Erinn, what you got this week?
My win is that my company was featured in Austin Weekly. Well, it's like a win for the month, or Austin Monthly. I keep getting them confused. Sorry, Austin Monthly. So they have an edition that they drop once a year in September, and they do Best of ATX, and that's me and my business partners right there. So it's a big thing. Like, they have one round that's for voting, like a section for voting, and then they have a section for the editor's pick. And so my company was picked by the editors. We didn't even have to be voted for as best community cultivators in the city, which is really cool. One, just because of the ethnic and racial demographic of Austin, to be recognized in that way and for people to be really rocking with what we're building is super encouraging. And then they had the awards banquet last night, like, where they had us all the winners and even some of the nominees come out. And it was just cool to see, like, because it's in every category. So they have like health and wellness, food, culture. So that's why the cover of it is a pizza. It's actually my favorite pizza place, but the worst pizza I've ever tasted. I don't know why they made this pickle pizza, but shout out to All Day Pizza because they have amazing pizza. But it's 132 categories that they do, nonprofit work, teachers, all sorts of stuff. So it's really cool to be recognized. Planning on taking that and leveraging it for more support from the city and different sponsors. But extremely grateful to Austin Monthly. It's a dope honor to receive for sure.
Pickle pizza sounds good. Maybe I'm weird.
I love pickles. It was not good.
I love the last piece of what you said, because leveraging that also means build on small wins. So, and that's what I've been preaching for over a decade. So awesome. Congrats, Erinn. Payne, what you got this week?
I think I'm happy that I'm getting consistent bookings. I've just been playing show after show after show because, September is a weird month for every beat-related industry. Now YouTube is kind of shitty because of the whole ad blocker controversy. And so, I'm supplementing it by stepping up the DJ bookings. So it's always a win that I can continue to get booked by different and new companies, new agencies, new organizations.
So, what's the ad blocker controversy? I don't even know.
Oh, you don't know? So, one, I think YouTube's algorithm has gotten more restrictive over time, but a lot of us have been making more money off of our videos with fewer views lately. And I wondered why. And it was because we are being inundated with ads. There'll be like In videos that I watched, previously years ago, I'll watch the same video today because it'll be like a white noise video or something, and there will be more, or exercise video. There will be 5 times as many advertisements all of a sudden. So I see why people are making more money, but that has inspired more end users to start using ad blockers when they're watching on desktop, because I don't think they're available for mobile. And so between August 6th and August 10th, if bigger creators look at their analytics, they'll see a drop off in desktop views, specifically a sharp decline right then, because YouTube is trying to adjust their view system to account for these ad blockers. And even YouTube Insider, I believe is his name, he works for Team YouTube, he tweeted that was the case. I'm making a video about it on my channel, but yeah, it's weird because I noticed it. I was like, damn, why does YouTube hate me again? We were cool for a minute, and now people are talking about it, and there's a lot of arguing.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was going on. You got to diversify your revenue streams. That's why I'm glad we're starting to run things up on Tubi. My win is, I've been telling you guys about the project that John's working on called Laugh. It's a dark comedy based in LA. The idea is to do versions of Laughs in other cities. I think I might have mentioned that before. So last night we got on a call with the potential team that might quarterback the Houston version of Laugh. And, these guys are my age, so I attribute some of the level of maturity of conversation just to now be dealing with like older folks as opposed to like my early music days. Don't get me wrong. I know that, some 50, 60, 70-year-olds can definitely be just as weird, but we had a really healthy dialogue. We didn't get to an actual agreement. I think it's going to come in phases, just in terms of figuring out, like, this is our first time working with another production team in this capacity and potentially sharing the director role, sharing the producer role, sharing, picking the cast and writing. So it's a lot more of a thorough process than making an album or a song. Not to put down making an album or a song, but making a series is just costs a lot more people involved. It just is what it is. So the win is we don't have a deal yet, but I just liked the way that the first meeting went. So hopefully it continues to go that way, and we get a deal sorted, and Laugh Houston is just as good or better than Laugh LA. But Laugh LA is coming out really dope, and I'm excited. I'm excited just to get the logo done and just start planting the seed that it's coming. So
How many episodes have y'all shot so far?
I believe we are in episode 4 now.
Oh, fire. Y'all are moving.
Of 8, yeah. I mean, independently, you gotta move. We gotta move. We gotta move quicker. To be honest with you, I feel like we have to move quicker than we have been. If Tyler Perry can like cut corners and keep things pushing. Matter of fact, somebody actually Josh sent me a video of like the actual show, like the final version of the show. You can hear Tyler Perry's voice like say cut and action. And like the final version, so we're not going to ever cut corners like that. But if Tyler Perry can keep it moving, we got
on TV.
Yeah, on the final like streaming version,
you can hear him say that. That's wild.
Yeah. So no, we will never lower the bar that low. You will never hear Ja say anything that unless he's on screen. But no, I'm excited, man, because I don't think there's ever been, and I think people from Houston would confirm this. Like, there's never been a show that authentically represented like Houston to the outside Houston world. I mean, there is a show called Mo on Netflix that's in Houston, but it's not what we're about to do. So
I've seen almost a full season of that. I can confirm. I think Mo is dope. Never gone back to it, but great writing, great pacing. It's amazing.
No, it is. It's a good show. Shout out to Toby Nwigwe, who's also in there. I don't think I finished the season, but it's shot really well. It's a legit like. I mean, I'm sure they had millions of dollars to create that show,
They
but
got
it's
a
just,
second season, so I think it did well.
yeah. But our focus isn't like telling like very authentic but funny like black stories in Houston, and that's not Mo's intention. So it'll be much different. So
But I think that's what makes that show dope because it may even open more people up to what y'all are doing because it specifically, I hope we don't get shadow banned for this, but it's showing like the Palestinian or really Muslim, I don't even know. It's like his cultural perspective, but it hits on so many things and like the culture of Houston and how like it's spread across a diaspora of like cultures, like Nigerian culture, Black American culture, Arab American culture, misunderstanding Palestinians, like all these different things. That's why I think that's why it caught my attention because it's so deeply, it has so many layers that are so interesting and fascinating.
yeah, it sucks that we even need to think about like saying stuff that gets us shadow banned. But this is the world we live in. It's a
Hey,
wild.
if they can get rich white dudes like Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air, they'll get anybody fucked up.
All bad. On another podcast, maybe we'll address something like that. Let's get into the topics. I believe we're starting with mine. I mentioned last week that I attended Trapital, which is a summit put on by Dan Runcie, who founded Trapital. And one of the conversations, I forget the gentleman's name, but I believe he's like the CEO of the company that works with Sabrina Carpenter. And he was talking about the level of detail and the amount of data that goes into like coming up with how they approach monetizing what she does, right? And I've always felt like independent artists lead creativity pretty much out of necessity. Like we don't have the resources of a major, so we have to be more creative to tell our story and to connect with fans than majors historically have had to. But now that superfan has become like a buzzword and majors have realized the value of creating products and experiences for superfans, what's the next step of creativity for independent artists to stay ahead of the curve, right? I challenge every independent artist now that majors are doing some of the things that just used to be us. Like, what's that next step? And I would love to ask you guys, I don't think we'll answer the question in its entirety, but we can start talking and just give some examples of things we can do that majors still aren't going to do and probably won't do, for another 5 years. Does anybody have any feedback or suggestions based on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of the private Discord I just started and the Patreon and all that. I think majors are going to flirt with things that look similar to what artists are doing in regards to community building, but they're never going to do anything like that. They're never going to do anything that direct. They're not. Sabrina Carpenter is not going to have a Discord that she drops into once or twice a week. There's just no way. So I think
why do you say that though, Payne? Because I don't know if I agree with that. Why do you think?
I just don't think they're going. I think the music industry proper creates such a such a distance between the people, the fans, and the artists. They insulate the artists quite a bit, and they certainly don't want to give the artists too much freedom on a platform to interact with people and be human and potentially mess up or say something wrong, and then it's a whole disaster. So I think if anything like that were to happen, the artists are probably too busy to make it happen themselves. Two, fans, for an artist like Sabrina Carpenter, that Discord would be an absolute mess. The creeps that are her fans. No disrespect to Sabrina Carpenter fans, all disrespect intended to creeps out there. And then thirdly, I don't think that the labels would want to manage that. There's just no way they would want to manage that. So if she did it on her own, that'd be one story, even though I think they would discourage it, but they wouldn't create that themselves.
Okay. Erinn, what do you think?
I think about, I know that everybody's moving to like smaller, more intimate gatherings, which I've been preaching for a decade, over a decade, because I was doing garage shows 15 years ago. But I think about the personability, or maybe like, for instance, LaRussell is doing it at his house. Major artists are not going to do that. And again, could be safety, all those things, but there is a way that they're emulating intentional community. But when it comes to like the practice of accessibility, again, like Payne is saying, I don't see this being something that they're going to do until they can figure it out. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but considering how siloed the internet is and how deeply people are desiring connection, especially because I'm just so focused on designing experiences that bring communities together. I've just been reading a ton. There's a book called Bowling Alone, and it talks about the loneliness epidemic in America. The book was written in the 90s or early 2000s, and he starts referencing the late 80s and early 90s, the loneliness epidemic. And so now here we are in 2025, and he's spot on. His predictions were spot on. And he was actually part of Barack Obama's campaign, and like choosing colors, how to make people feel together and things. And so he's extremely insightful. But because people want to touch grass with other people, I think that the way that the major labels are going to do it is still going to be formulaic, whereas independent artists have the opportunity to really say, like, I saw an artist in Atlanta recently. She does all sorts of things. So she's trying to build a community. She's like, meet me at this park and we're going to all journal about what we want to do for the rest of the year and encourage each other. And she's like, I'm going to bring out my videographer. So if you need to get some drops and you need some content, you can shoot it with me or you can shoot it with the people that you meet. Stuff like that. Just on a whim, she put up like an RSVP so she could figure out how many people were going to come. I think things like that are not going to be as easy and accessible for major label artists because they're not necessarily thinking that way. And then the labels, it's always like this whole, well, then we got to do this and approve this and approve this. So I think unique in-person gatherings, personal in-person gatherings, again, like the backyard show, the garage show, come eat at my parents' house. I'm seeing things like that with independent artists that I don't necessarily think that the majors are going to be able to duplicate.
Yeah, no, for sure. So for me, just probably a few things. And I would really, follow artists that do it well. And even if you don't like their music, follow what they're doing. Obviously, LaRussell comes up time and time again. I think Connor Price, comes up time and time again. He definitely, and I think he mentioned that he used to be a child actor in one of his, and it made sense. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, like that's why he's so like comfortable with the camera and is able to like, pull off some of these skits and show his acting. Independent artists still have the ability to move much faster than labels because of what Erinn just mentioned. There still is like a legal component. Like you just can't move fast or collaborate with anyone. So we can still move a lot faster, but I would say a combination of, maybe exploring like acting, working with other creators outside of music and doing some more unique collaborations. I think collaboration is key, right? And that's one of the things you can do a lot faster than major label artists because they're still holding stuff up. They can't move as fast. Although I did just talk with Ray Vaughn because he's in Laugh, and I think that even that's changing to some degree depending on the type of relationship the artists have with their labels. So I would say collaboration is key, but it still comes back to also just really having a good understanding of the story that you're trying to tell, and being authentic. because the labels can come up with the greatest strategy in the world. If it doesn't translate, if the artist pushes back or doesn't want to do it, it's not something that the label can do on their own. Like, the artist has to be tapped in. So I would say, you know, the unique experiences that Erinn was talking about, the collaboration, and being more creative with the collaboration. What else? The authenticity, and just really honing in on the story that you're trying to tell, and reaching out cross, not genre, what do you call it? Cross creator, you know, getting them tapped in. Work with people like Ja, or, you know, actors, comedians, cooking shows, if cooking's your thing. Like, there's a lot of people doing some really interesting stuff. And I just want to encourage people to like tap into that next layer of creativity, because these major labels are on your heels in that department. Like, I've seen some stuff that they're working on, and it's, you know, the fact that they have hella money to invest in like data analysis and all these things that they're doing, like, they're getting much more organized to maximize profit. So
Yo, speaking of cooking, though, I forgot we have to talk about the McConan situation next week.
the what?
The McConan thing, the super chef.
For sure. Well, I know with this, I know Erinn said my topic kind of bled into hers, so I'll let her take it away.
Payne, if you could pull up the video and we can just play it and then I'll talk about it.
Okay, let me grab that now.
You want to just say about? Oh, he already has it ready. We're good to go then.
You did Coach K interview, and I'm saying how they was guerrilla marketing. So really, niggas gotta really start going to these cities a few days. You know what I'm saying? Nigga ain't got a show before. We need to go on there. If we not there personally, send somebody there to, you know what I'm saying, nigga. I seen Jesus say them niggas hit the barber shops.
Yeah, we used to go to everywhere. We used to go to the malls.
Put these posters up, nigga got a guerrilla market, you know what I'm saying? Cause it's like shit, nigga, leave it out on the court. You know, if this shit don't work, it's the reason why. It's like shit, nigga, we do everything we need to do. It's no reason why it shouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like nigga gotta start doing that type of shit.
But it's the internet now though. So everybody on the phone. So.
People follow me. They follow so many people, they might miss your shit, might not see your shit, you know what I'm saying? So you'll get handicapped thinking, the internet all I need.
So that is Zillionaire Doe. And I love what he's talking about because it's bringing something back to the forefront that I think is just the way that we grew up in the music industry, where you're just going out and touching the people. Your CDs in the parking lot. You're with me, because I was managing a band. They're busking on a street corner. You know, like just really outside. And I love that Big Bank said, oh, but there's the internet now. And he's like, yeah, but they may be following so many people. They're going to miss what you have. I think, I was talking to an artist pulled up to Auntie's house this last, Sunday, and he was like, I didn't know you worked in the music industry. I've been watching your podcast for the last month, because he came to the event the month before that. And I had met him, you know, it was cool. And I was like, yeah, I don't really work in the music industry anymore, but sure. And he was like, I got to send you my music. And he was like, what's the first step with socials? And I wanted to be like, bro, just go watch all 300 episodes of the podcast. But I was like, don't worry about socials. I was like, you came here because you heard about my event on socials, but you came back because you met me and had a good experience with all the people here. And he was like, And I was like, yeah, like if you have the people, the internet never really matters, right? And it's beneficial. I'm not saying completely F the internet. Clearly, if you're hearing my voice right now, you're on the internet watching what we're doing. But I feel like a lot of people assume, if they're not in the shoes of somebody with a ton of followers, they assume that the internet is the way in. It's like, oh, if I just get a bunch of followers, or if I just get a viral video, people will finally start to pay attention to me. And I know people, even right now, like we have an event with the city called Vibe Weekend on Friday. And the two artists that we have performing both have less than 5,000 followers on Instagram and less than like 500 monthly listeners, but they're selling CDs, and one of them sells gives away, tapes. It's just like a memento thing. But both of them will have 200 or 300 people monthly out to their events. They do a lot of shows and live events and community events. And so I know people I know somebody currently who has several 100,000 monthly listeners and can't sell 100 tickets in his city, and so they're really building with their community because they're like, they can't compete that way, but they have a ton of people who are interested in them. One of them is working with the Latino community and youth. The other one is working with like the smokers community and like entrepreneurs inside of business. They both have like really tight locked communities. And so I think what he's talking about is going out and touching the people. He said barbershops. She mentioned grocery stores and stuff like that. And that's real. If you feel like you're stuck and you're stagnant, or you want people to pay attention to what you're doing, similar to like what we're saying, the major labels can't duplicate this. This is a signed artist saying he heard an interview from Jeezy and Coach K and was like, oh, I need to go out and meet the people. I need to get into a city a few days early. So if a signed artist is having this realization, why not you as an independent artist? And I've mentioned this several times before. I mention it often when I speak, and I've talked about it on this platform. A lot of people don't know their neighbors. If you don't know one or two of your neighbors and they have no idea that you make music, imagine how many people you pass and interact with every single day. Even if you just make eye contact with them, that could be a potential fan. And if you're not great at talking to people, but you want to be an artist, you want to be full time in it, this is the perfect place to practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was at the Austin Monthly last night. I know a handful of people, but again, there's not a lot of Black people in the room. I'm not scared of people of other races, obviously. So I'm just like, well, let me not just stick over here with my business partner and hang out. Let me go meet some people. And I started just meeting a ton of really cool people. It doesn't take much to be like, hey, I'm just trying to meet people. What's your name? And a lot of times if you're curious about other people are curious about you. Something that I often do, especially if I'm out, I'm just be like, I like your shoes, or I like your bandana, I like your necklace, whatever. I give people a compliment. It immediately opens them up, and now we can have a conversation. And so I think that this is something that people should be practicing. People are so on the internet and so on their phone, even when they're in public. They can't have a conversation, and it's like, man, your answer is right next to you, but you won't open your mouth.
So yeah, and I agree with everything that you said, but I feel like the sweet spot, a lot of the stuff that goes viral on the internet is just capturing stuff that's happening in real life, right? Like I probably would never do anything just in real life. Like I would want to, capture everything that you're doing and find those moments that work well for social. That combination to me is the sweet spot. But I would encourage everyone to get out of their house, not even just for the artistic or business piece, just to grow as a person and to learn how to interact with other humans. I realize
I do want to note, Doug Dame, if everything is for social, then you become that weirdo who always has a camera in somebody's face. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's got to be somewhat of a line.
Yeah, but I can't think of an event that we've done that wasn't captured, and it doesn't mean like a camera in everybody's face, right? Like it's recap videos. You want to show people that you are outside. Are there any? I mean, you do the same thing. I see.
No, for events for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I'm walking around having all sorts of conversations, and then even parts of my event I don't show. And then when people get there, they're like, "Yo, we didn't know that this and this," and I'm like, "Yeah," because I want some of the magic to only be for in person.
Got you. Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff. What's homie's name that walks around New York? Ari? Is it at home with Ari or at IG with Ari? The cat that walks around.
Yeah, he's an IRL streamer though. He's got that shit strapped to him. You're talking about the producer that makes beats on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, crushing it. I mean,
Erinn should do that. Erinn, get those straps with the GoPros. The battery packs.
I've thought about it. I'm gonna be honest, just for some POV of what my day looks like.
See?
Yeah, I mean, you'll capture magic. Like you just capture moments that you didn't anticipate. I remember who was it? Who was it that messed up their knee at Russell's? It was an OG. What's his name? Fuck, I forget. Anyway, like. Obviously, it's not cool that he dislocated his knee, but like
Yo, that whole thing was so wild. And then he had the replays. He was such a good sport because he was reposting it and accepted the collab post. I'm like, that's so generous.
He kept rapping. So yeah, you capture moments in that happen just authentically. You know, a lot of people are manufacturing moments on the internet right now, and even though some of it gets a lot of views, like, you should be able to tell if you have some kind of common sense when people are just manufacturing moments. It happens a lot with like dog videos, because me and my wife share a lot of like dog like videos.
Folks are manufacturing what's happening with the dogs.
Yeah, like they'll put captions on stuff that it didn't happen like that. I could tell you set this up. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's your hustle, that's your hustle. But like, if you have video, you're going to capture moments that you didn't even think to manufacture. Like, it couldn't have been manufactured because, you know, who would manufacture his knee just folding? Like,
okay, but this goes back to your topic, because this is the type of thing that a major label artist wouldn't do, and that a label wouldn't recommend that their artists do. There's no way they're going to say strap a camera to, again, because it could be a potential PR nightmare. You catch a lot of weird stuff happening on these IRL streams, and also it's a security risk. It's unsafe for a lot of people.
Right. But I have a feeling like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what major labels, they get smarter slowly, but they do get smarter. So you just never know. I mean, I think you just have to craft a strategy, again, that just tells your authentic story. I want to say, I'm still trying to it was Richie Rich. I think that's who it was that fucked up his knee.
He's an old school Oakland rapper, right?
Yeah, Bay Area cat. Yep.
Yeah. I used to listen to him.
Am I frozen? My screen is acting up.
No, we can still see you and hear you in real time.
It's all relative, Dan.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting that the young cat is just kind of going back to the basics, you know, with what folks used to do, you know, decades ago. Shout out to Zillionaire Doe. I'm not familiar with your music. But yeah, I feel like that's the kind of energy you got to have. You got to do something different. And a lot of times something different is just what's been done a long time ago. It's just unearthing some of those strategies and hitting the pavement.
You know what struck me listening to both of your topics is that, and I'm not saying they're in a great position, but they might be worth studying. Rappers who end up no longer signed and who aren't really A-list celebrities anymore. And you always hear about, you know, oh, this rapper fell off. Look what he's doing. He's performing at a school auditorium. Or look at this rapper. He's at the community center. And this rapper's at this small venue. No one's there. This rapper's making an appearance at some local restaurant and there are like 50 people there. And I'm like, they're doing that because they might be desperate right now and they're taking a lot of opportunities, whatever opportunities they can. And they're kind of on their way out. But the ideas that they're implementing aren't really bad ideas. So what if you studied these so-called fallen off rappers and what they're doing and do some of that stuff yourself as you're coming up? And I think it's because there's a stigma, you know, and now more than ever, I think social media has been this amazing tool that gives artists a lot of options, but it also documents everything. So when people see someone performing, you know, there's footage and there are only 50 people in the room or 20 people in the room. Hey, sometimes that shit happens, but the problem is people get embarrassed and well, I'm not trying to do that. So some people get afraid to promote events because they don't know how, because they've been on social media, and then they do promote an event and they don't do it correctly. So there are only 20 people in attendance and they're afraid someone's going to catch them. I remember I had a friend who was managing an artist who was on his way up and he was getting a lot of momentum, and he screwed a lot of things up because someone recognized him at a job. So he was like, fuck that, I'm quitting my job. I can't have people seeing me work a regular job. So, things like that really do affect artists. And I almost feel like, okay, well, if you're in that state of mind where that's, you're averse to being a real human, then that's going to cause other problems. You got to figure that out. And that could be a long process. And maybe you never figure it out, or maybe it takes 5 years and you have to reset everything. But for the rest of us who have a more mature perspective right now, which, most young artists don't have, and that's the tragedy. But for those of us who do have that, like Zillionaire Records CEO that was just speaking, he clearly knows what his goals are. He's very clearly a professional. Why not look at some of these artists that are now free from the label system? You might look at them and be like, oh, these dudes are bums now. Yeah, but they can do whatever they want now. And these are the opportunities that are being offered to them. If you're up and coming and you have a chance to perform at a community center or a teen center or something, that'd be great fan outreach, because on the way out, people are like, who is he? On the way up, people are like, oh, who is he? And that just adds, your ascent will add to the allure and lore of you having done that. So just something that struck me, because people love clowning these retired, C-list rappers now.
What you're talking about, Pain, is exactly when Dave said the labels are slow, but basically it's happening. It's happening because they're watching all of us too. You know what I'm saying? They're watching the people who are on the way out. They're watching the people who are on the way up. I'm sure they're watching your stories, Dame, like they watch mine. Like half of my story views, I feel like, are label execs, either people that I've consulted for already or people who pumped fake like they were going to hire me to consult, and they're just watching my story hoping that they get inspired. Like, people are watching. So if you start to get like really creative with what you're doing, you'll attract the right eyes. And then it's like Lareezy. Everybody's watching Lareezy right now, and he's not signed yet. I think he's going to start getting a lot of interesting offers. But sometimes when you're really hot, labels will wait because they want to make sure that you're consistent with it. Or they're like, oh, well, he probably wants to remain independent until he can get a really good deal. And sometimes people don't have the budgets to offer people different things, but they're going to be watching. Most of the people that I see in Lareezy's comments are label heads and label owners, label people. So I think if you're trying to prototype something and you're like, why is nobody paying attention to me? You have to just keep being consistent. Like, I have no interest now, unless you're trying to pay me really well, in like fraternizing with labels and label heads anymore. But I get comments like, they won't even follow me, which is really annoying. They don't even follow me. They're just watching me, and they'll comment on my videos, or they'll be like, man, really loving what you're doing. And I'm just like, thank you. Cause I think it's cool. So everything doesn't have to be a transaction, right? So I'm grateful for the love and support. But I do start to see trickles. They just be copying shit. I see trickles of what I'm doing consistently. I see people trying to emulate things, and it's super fascinating. So if you're doing something right, you'll attract the eyes. Even if they're not signing you or bringing anything in, just keep going, because they're watching what you're doing to see how they can take it to their artist or maybe bring you into their system.
Yeah. We can get in the Payne's topic, but one thing that I believe Payne just mentioned, like, if you're not being authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to connect these days. You might have, there might be an artist or a few artists out there that like are creating some kind of like mystical, magical world to get lost in that's not like real. But more of the artists that are doing well have an authentic connection with their fans, and they don't mind sharing their highs and lows. And the fans probably connect more with the lows than the highs, because that's just the energy that we're in this country right now, in this day and age. So it's going to be tough connecting with folks if you're not being authentic, or if you're scared to share that you have a job. Most people have to have a job. It's the normal thing. So, Payne, what you got for us?
So, Dame, this is actually a video that you sent me. Tell me what the context was. Do you follow this guy, Elmer?
Yeah, Elmer, I've met him. I've met him a long time ago, and we follow each other. Talented cat, I believe, based in Vegas, and I think he's responding to somebody that accused him of stealing their beat.
Wait, was he at the MEC event in Vegas that we did?
He probably was. He I don't remember, but because that was a minute ago.
Yeah, it
I
was.
don't. To hear slight tangent. I don't know if I'm like losing my memory, or if just like so many things happen that like it's impossible to remember everything.
I
Maybe a
think you
combination.
meet so many people and you do so much. Like you're thriving in multiple industries. I think because people walk up to me all the time, like, yo, we met, da da da. And I'm like, I've never seen your face before.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me about a super specific conversation we had. And I'll be like, man, so grateful that we had that great conversation, but I have no idea. So I don't think it's you. I think it's just we're doing so much. You just lose it. You know, you can't hold it all.
But I mean, I've met him in person before. It might have been at the MEC event, but
I can check. Hold on, let me look at some of these photos quick. I just want to see if he's in any of them.
You still got the photo file on
Wait, hold on. Is this? I do.
Sure I got it. I'm sure I got it somewhere myself. But he's always been like super respectful. You know, just a solid cat. I don't know him that well, but
Do you see him anywhere here?
Is that him right there, right behind
Him?
Xavier? I think his name is I forgot his name. I think that's him. I think that was him.
Is that him?
Oh wow. Yeah, that's him.
Okay, that's of course sitting right by me, and I'm like, I don't know this guy. All right, I look like a fool now.
That was a minute ago.
Okay, so let me play the video now. He was accused of stealing a beat idea, I guess, by one of his followers or colleagues. Damn it, man. Instagram.
And that there's this producer named Nick Joest who says that I stole one of the melodies in one of the beat videos that I posted. First off, Nick, I completely understand your anger and frustration. I checked out the video in question, and it indeed sounds like the same melody line. And it sucks to think or feel like somebody copied your work, especially music, and not get the due credit for it. As a producer myself, I think it's really important that everybody gets the credit that they deserve for the work that they've done. The last thing I ever want to do is make another artist or producer feel like they're being taken advantage of. With all that being said, I didn't copy you. I don't even think I've come across any of your videos. I'm a 90s baby, so a lot of the inspiration for that melody line was actually drawn from Destiny's Child Survivor, just tweaked a little bit. And it just so happens that the melody arpeggio line that I heard in my head and the video you posted sound the same. As producers, we often come up with similar ideas, and when you make a lot of music, it's not uncommon to have artists and producers nearly make the same type of shit. Like, I'm sure you've worked with people in the studio and then somebody says, oh, why don't you try and play something like this? And then you're like, oh, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, y'all unanimously agree that this melody line hits, or this shit is the right string of notes. Good music is ingrained in our soul, so it's not so far-fetched for different people to arrive at the same thing.
I think we get the point. Why did you send me that video, Dame? Because you had a different takeaway from what I did.
I just love the mature way. Like I just always prefer people like have a conversation that is respectful and communicate yourself, you know, with a mutual respect and maturity that you should have in your 20s and 30s and 40s. Like artists always resort to emotion, and it just gets crazy off top. I think there is like this weird desire to be a part of some kind of drama in the music industry so they can say like that happened to me, right? I think they hear these stories that sometimes happen of people getting taken advantage of, and it's almost like they're waiting for their moment to be in that so that they can act up. It's very weird. I feel like Hop was that way. It's like, bro, and sometimes you jump to the conclusions too soon. Like you kind of excited about being in this madness, and it's like it's not even that. Like you rush to judgment and you put yourself in this weird moment that's not even that weird if you take a step back and think about what actually happened. So, but then you've already kind of played your hand. So now you feel like you have to play it out like it is some like messed up moment. Like this is your music industry, like taking advantage of moment. So I can point at the music industry or that person and be like, see, this is the shadiest, most evil place ever. Like artists need to stop being weird. And I know they're not going to stop just because I said that, but that's why I move the way I move now. But shout out.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had people do that to me, and I've reached out to them directly, and my thing is like, all right, well, do I believe them? What kind of situation do I want to turn this into? But with producers, you hear that, and like I used to be in a group with a rapper that was stealing ideas. I think he was just too dumb to realize it. He would hear an idea, and I have a really good memory, and a week later, we'd be in the studio and he starts singing that same hook. And I'm like, I was with you at the performance when we heard so-and-so write that same hook. You just changed like 3 words. And he just didn't know. And it happened to us with an entire song run once. I remember there's this dude that was just around the city. He was mad as fuck at me. I'm like, why is he acting funny? Oh, I come to find out, this rapper was like, yo, I guess he thinks we stole his song or his idea or something. I was like, oh, why would he think that? He made a similar song. I listened to the song. It was the same. It was the same. I was like, yeah, now I see why he's mad, because you stole all of his lyrics. You stole his like for the song, I made the beat and the hook, and I thought it was a good concept, but the verses were 1-to-1 pretty much. But with producers, what happens, and it's almost comical. We saw it with the Vano 3000 situation. Yeah, Vano 3000. And I know Aaron's a big Vano 3000 fan. He accused Doja Cat of stealing his beat for Paint the Town Red. And it was a big deal. He's been still to this day. I just looked it up just to see if there was an update.
He's still talking about it? Like, bro, let that
as recently
one go.
As a year ago.
Nobody believes you.
So he's still trying to get some blood out of that rock. And he accused her of stealing his beat, and then he played the beat. And so if you're a casual listener, especially if you're younger, you're like, oh, wow, yeah, she stole it. But it's like, it's walk on by. It's an incredibly well-known song that both of you sampled. And he was like, well, she sampled it the same way. I'm like, but you looped the first 4 measures of it, or 2 measures of it. It there wasn't anything innovative done. He's like, no, if you listen to that little chop, I'm like, come on, man, I've been producing for 20 years. I'm sorry, I can't. And even if she did steal that idea from you, it's a sample. So you can't, like, people in this culture, people sample the same breaks and the same songs, and it's always happened. And maybe there were beefs about that back in the day, but I didn't know of any. I mean, people were doing it all the time and continue to do so. I mean, not to say that sampling culture is based on unoriginality, but when you find a good break, you're going to use it, and the next person is going to find that same break and they're going to use it too. But that's happened quite a bit with the samples. And I have to admit, I did some dumb shit recently because I got excited. It wasn't because I was like, oh, this person stole from me. It was more positive. So I know we don't like you don't like having certain guests on, Dame, but the guy, Kyle Bethel, the I'm a decent man from a city of demons guy, right? I saw, who did I see the other day quote him? I've seen everyone from Meek Mill to Freddie Gibbs to Snoop. A bunch of people are either sharing his content or they're quoting him. And when he sent me that track, because he's a rapper that has gotten a lot of beats from me, so shout out to Kyle. He was like, oh, check this out. I'm like, oh, wow, this was right when he first got his video shared on Instagram by Snoop. And I was like, oh, wow, look at that. It's at 12,000. Now it's at, hundreds of them, it's not millions. And I was like, oh, I heard the beat And it was a sample that I had used before for a beat that I put up online. And I'm like, oh, he got that beat from me. I forgot this because this was a while ago. So I got excited and I'm like, I'm sharing stuff. I'm like, look at this beat I produced. Look what's happening. He sends me a voice note and I click on it and I had to take my phone away from my face because he's going, whoa, hold on, man. That's not your beat. I was like, what do you mean it's not your beat? You've gotten like 5 beats from me. And I said, and then I listened to it again and I was like, no, those aren't my drums. It was just a sample that I had used. He didn't buy that beat from me. He bought it from another producer, but we used the same sample. And I just got excited and confused because I had worked with him. One, I make so many damn beats. I have like 3,000 on my DJPain1Beats.com catalog. But with him, he had used like 4 or 5 of my beats by that point. So I'm just assuming he's sharing it with me because, it's a track that I produced. He was just sharing it with me because he's like, look at this momentum I'm building. And then I felt like a sucker. So it happens. But fortunately for me, it wasn't me reacting to something that somebody else potentially stole. But yeah, it happens. I hear stories all the time of producers even taking legal action. They're trying to take legal action.
But Payne, did you apologize?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I apologized and I immediately erased. I mean, the beautiful thing was he caught it almost instantaneously because I tagged him.
So there's nothing wrong with an apology. That is what you should do. And the quicker you apologize, hopefully the better you should feel. Like, I feel good when I correct a wrong and I apologize. I don't know why people prefer to like double down on their dipshitness. I just made that up.
I think it's childhood trauma.
Yeah. Thank you, Erinn.
And I think it's people who haven't had it emulated well. Like, my parents never apologized to me or other people. And so like, I didn't learn how to apologize till I was probably in high school and I was playing sports. And I just hated when people would do stuff and be like, but we all know you're wrong right here. Like, I'm not trying to like berate you. I just want you to own it. And I remember the first time an adult apologized and owned it with me, I was like, oh, I love the way that I feel. And I don't want to hold anything against them. And so from then on, obviously when you're in high school and, a young adult, you have to practice it. But by my mid-20s, I was just like, it just is what it is. Like, I'm flawed, you're flawed. This opens the door for more people to apologize. But I agree. It's like, I feel like artists are the most immune to it, or the most averse to it. To apologizing. It's like, bro, like, just own it. Like, real quick, own it. Or even if you double down, just be like, damn, I felt like I was backed into a corner and I doubled down on this. Like, the more you own shit, the more people trust you. I do not understand, but I think it's like childhood trauma and you just like not addressing it. So you feel some sort of shame. You feel less than, you feel unimportant if you have to own that you did something wrong. And so now, instead of admitting something that we both know, you now make it look worse. I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who modeled apologizing and accountability for you, Dame, in your family? Like, which adult did that?
I don't know. I don't feel like
Juvenile just did an amazing job. He just apologized on Drink Champs. He owned that he messed up his marriage and is supporting his ex-wife's new marriage. They got married, I think 4 or 5 years ago, but it's a great clip that's going viral right now. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, I'm the one who fucked up and cheated. He's like, but how dare me not support her? Now it models for my children that if something's wrong, it can't be fixed. He's like, I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good co-parent. I want my kids to be able to own stuff. And I was like, literally, like, this is incredible, that the way that he owned it, and then said, like, not only do I want it to move forward better, I also apologize for what I did, and because it was me that messed it up. I think he did a phenomenal job. I would advise anybody to go look at that. I was so impressed.
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't think it was the family. I think parents have a hard time of apologizing, or at least like our generation of parents. But I've just always, like, starting in college, like, I've just always been around solid cats. Like, not just from an apology perspective, but just the way they carry themselves, the mutual respect that they have for each other. My fraternity brothers were huge in my development as a man, because it's the first time that we really opened up and shared like more deep things about our experiences, our life. You realize a lot of people going through the same thing. So I can't pinpoint it, but just having a group of people that are solid, that you rely on, that you communicate with, open and honest about, like it just becomes like obvious at some point. Yeah, if you fuck up, you should apologize. Hopefully you have people in your life that hold you accountable.
Well, and the crazy thing is, a lot of adults model terrible behavior when it comes to accountability. Celebrities, they don't take accountability for the most part. That's why we love watching these toxic ass celebrity reality TV shows. When you go to a job, it's damn near expected that a manager or a supervisor or a middle manager is going to be an asshole and never take accountability for shit. That's kind of what qualified them for that position. So lack of accountability is normalized. And when you see someone apologizing, you get weirded out. Like, you're like, what is this? This is so foreign. Is this real? Are you joking? Is there a hidden camera somewhere? Are you streaming right now? Just because it feels so outside of your experience. And it's sad, especially, like, not to get into the parents thing, but just, all of us probably are at a point where, like, we can't change our parents, so or our families, or some of the elders in our families. So it's just kind of one of those things where you got to accept it, and you have to be the one to model the accountability, not for the generation before you, but for the generation after. And that's kind of a sacrifice, and it feels bad sometimes.
There was actually a very good example recently. I played softball with my frat brothers. We were practicing before the season started, and at the park that we were practicing, they were having an event, and they needed the softball field for parking. So, like, initially they moved us over to one field, and then eventually, like, cars kept coming, so we couldn't practice. So it cut our practice hella short. And the gentleman, a lot of the folks that were moving the cars were Mexican, and like one of the cats on my team yelled out something super out of pocket, and everybody else on the team was like, "Yo, like, go apologize to that cat." Like, that's the kind of group that I've always been around. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I've never said anything out of pocket. Like, I think out of pocket things all the time, but you have that wrestle in your mind initially. And then it's like, should you say it? Should you not say it? But then if you have people that are with you, that hold you accountable, that was like and because of who we are and the relationship we had, like, he took his ass over there and he apologized. So, hopefully people build that kind of like connection with folks, and you have that, in your everyday life, because apologizing is healthy.
It's also really good to note that y'all just weren't like, whoa, that's wild. Y'all were like, that's wild, go apologize. Because I think a lot of times in groups of men, I will see them be like, man, bro, that was wild. And then there's no further step. So I think that even that is super commendable, that y'all were like, go apologize.
Yeah. And it's dope that he was open, like, to doing, like, it wasn't like, nah, fuck that. I ain't saying shit. Like, he was like, yeah, you're right, my bad. So it was big of him to kind of take that feedback in real time while emotions were high. So yeah. Dope. No, I think we covered some dope stuff today. Anything else?
Well, that transformed into a conversation about accountability. So take some accountability and get your music up on the streaming platforms. Every day is a new challenge. Every episode is a new challenge for me to segue into the sponsorship mention. But yeah, take some accountability, get an account with a distributor like 2 Lost, 3 free months. Go to 2lost.com, use the code MEC. You can get a lot of music up, a lot of instrumentals, even the beats that you're selling and leasing online, just get those on the streaming platforms. I've been doing this, and you get some additional eyes on you, some ears, some revenue. And 3 free months is a long time for you to get projects up. I mean, if you don't have any projects right now, don't sign up right this second, but get your music together and then sign up. TwoLost.com. Code is MEC for 3 free months of premium music distribution. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back maybe next week. We'll talk about McConan, because I think that's an important conversation. Especially when we did that episode about the rapper that was on an upward trajectory and then quit to become a construction worker out of necessity. And it sounds like maybe a similar but somewhat different situation. Interesting nevertheless. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you next week. Peace.